Okay guys, welcome back. We're doing a quick review on two reels that I've been using for about a year. I've used them in the New River, and I've used them fishing for crappie and smallmouth bass and bluegill, and I recently caught a catfish on one of these reels. Two reels in question that we're going to be doing a review on are two similar reels and two different categories of reels. We do have we'll get the first one out of the way, which is the FX series of Shimano. This is the 2500 series, but overall they're about the same in between their 2500, their 3000 series reels, and their 4000 series reels as well. And the second reel we'll be doing a review on is the sienna style reel, which is very similar to that one in particular. This one also, they make one in a 500 series ultralight, 1000, which this one is right here, as you can see, is a 1000 series sienna. And they also make one in a 2500. They also make one in a 3000 and a 4000 series and up reel. Both reels are very similar on paper. They function very similar, in a lot of aspects, but in a lot of other aspects, one's better than the other. The first reel we'll do a review on is the FX series reel. Give you some of the specs on this bad boy. It's a 4:1 gear ratio. Now this is more their budget line of reels. It's coming in around, I don't know, 20 bucks. The older FX series reels back in the day, I've used those. I love those reels. But the only fatal flaw in those older FX series reels from the 80s and the 90s was that in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, they had the whole thing was graphite. The body was graphite and the spools were graphite. They basically upped the game in like the mid 2000s and started putting aluminum spools on that, which is a great added advantage of durability and long-term sustainability with this reel. I think it's really well made. It's got like 3 ball bearings, 2-to-1 ball bearings. It's a little slightly better than the older FX reels. The older FX reels were only like 1 ball bearing, and they had like a little drag knob on the bottom. But the more modern version of the FX series of reels they've upped their game on these reels, and I think they're really good quality reels now compared to what they used to be. They have either an 8 or 9 pound drag knob on the top here, an aluminum handle. They replaced the old graphite handle with a aluminum handle, which makes this very durable. And the handle crank won't break off on you. A little handle crank, side by side ambidextrous action there with the handle crank. That means you can go right to left hand on this, and it has like a little tiny anti-reverse switch right here. And yeah, that's one of my main gripes about this one in particular is the anti-reverse switch. It's so small. If you got big hands or you're using gloves in the winter to use this reel, that could be a problem for you guys. Hitting that switch, it's irritating. I don't know why they don't just put the original big anti-reverse switch that they used to put on the Sedonas on these. I really don't get that, but this is like 4:1 gear ratio, and it's still a good quality reel for what you pay for it. Line capacities on this bad boy is 2, 4, 6 to 8, so you can get 8 on there, but I do put 10 on it, which I find that 10-pound test is like its real max capacity of line. On this one, you'll probably be good with either 6 or 8-pound test, no problem with that. Depending on what type of fishing you're doing, I use this for wacky rig fishing and Texas rig style fishing for bass, slow moving retrieval. The only downside about that one, the 2 downsides I have about this one, is the small anti-reverse switch and the low gear ratio sometimes has a hard time pulling in the fish. Basically, it's got the same gear ratio as a Zebco 33 spin cast reel, but if you can overlook that, it's still a good quality reel, and for what you pay for it, it's a reliable reel. I've had it for over a year. I've had some loose reels, like some of the cheaper reels out on the market that come close to this price point break on me within like a year's worth of use, and this one's still going strong. Haven't cleaned it yet, still using it. Caught tons of bass with it so far, smallmouth, largemouth, and you know, a few small panfish. Over the year I've used this. Excellent reel. You could put either braid, fluorocarbon, or mono on it. Works okay with mono. Probably work better with braid or fluorocarbon. I wouldn't want to use braid with it too much because of the very fact that, you know, braid does damage your reels over time, and you know, pretty much it'll ruin any reel or fishing rod. But just stick with some fluorocarbon or mono and you'll be okay. And if the 2500 series reel is not good for your fishing situation, I'm sure they make a reel that'll work for your situation, for whatever type of fishing you want to do with it. Has a entire graphite body. It's okay. I mean, but I think it's a lot better than some of the Lew's options I've used over the past 2 years. I bought a few Lew's spinning reels that I do not like. Now, there was one Lew's spinning reel that I did buy last year that was a surprise and still works good. I think it was that speed spool reel, but it's not the light series reel I reviewed though. That light series video I did on that reel, an update on that reel, it's totally trashed. It doesn't work anymore. My buddy ruined it. Okay, the second reel we got here is the more expensive Sienna. These run about 30 to 30 to 40 bucks depending on where you get them. It's the same setup as the other one. It has the same body design almost, but it has more of a polished graphite than the other one. The bail on this one's good. It works great. It's got an aluminum spool or alloy spool, whatever. It's got like a 6-7 pound drag. If I had to guess, that's probably not right, but oh well. Line capacities on this one is 2 to 4 pound test, but I do use 6 pound test on this one. This is the reel that I caught that 4 pound catfish with in one of my videos, and it held up really nice. I had this for about a year now. Works really well, and it has an aluminum handle crank, which is good because it'll make it last a lot longer. It's ambidextrous from right to left. They do make one in a, like I said, a 500 series, a 1000 series, 2500, 3000 series, all the way up to a 4000 series reel. So if a smaller reel like this 1000 series reel is not going to get it done for you for bigger fish, they may make a reel for you guys out there. You just got to pick and choose which one works for you, and I'm sure they'll send it out to you, or you can go to any big box store and get you one. Now, the price of these might go up depending on how big the model is, but you know, these are the base budget options from Shimano. I do like these reels. I've used them for over a year. I think the Sienna is going to be a little bit better because it's got a 5:1 gear ratio, and it's about 4 ball bearings. It's 1 ball bearing more than the other FX series of reel, and it's got a higher gear ratio, slightly higher gear ratio, which is not great and it's not terrible. I mean, these are going to be a lot better than some of your Lew's options out there. I've used a lot of Lew's reels I don't like. Some of the cheaper versions of the Shakespeare reels, it's going to be a little bit better than those. And you know, it's going to be on par with ABU-Garcia's Max series of micro reels or full-size reels, or Fluger President Series reels, or the Quantum Q-Race style reels. You know, it's going to be in that like middle of the range road. But if you want something a little bit better than these, I recommend you to get the Sedona. The Sedonas are a slight improvement over these two. Now, all that aside, the thing I don't like about this one, the anti-reverse switch on this one is way too small, just like the other one. It's not really big enough, and most spinning reels have huge anti-reverse switches. So if in case you're using gloves on this bad boy, it's easy to hit it on and off. If you want to use an anti-reverse switch, You know, anti-reverse switches for spinning reels or bait casters or anything like that is usually designed if you're using lighter line to reel in bigger fish, to kind of like back it out of structure. If you get it stuck on a fish underneath a log jam or something like that, you can, you know, maybe back the line out and let them work their way out of a log jam. But I mean, in theory, that's what it's for. But you know, I've never had the need to use one, honestly. That's one gripe I have about both reels. Now, another gripe I have about both these reels, and it's not a big one really, is the rod seat on these are really low. They used to have like a straight rod seat, and sometimes when you're using a rod and reel, it's kind of hard to like grab the line like right here on the spool, because of the way the design of the rod seat is from here, this angle. Now I'd like to see them, if they were going to improve on this model, and if you're watching this video, Shimano, go back to the straight shaft rod seats. That's a great rod seat for these reels, and most reel companies do make straight reel rod seats. Other than that, I really don't have any complaints, except the you know, the little anti-reverse switches and the handle cranks. Now, I've used fluorocarbon on this one in particular. It works just fine with fluorocarbon. Works slightly better with fluorocarbon than the mono I'm using, but since I'm using mono, I'm using really stiff graphite rods, and you can kind of get away with using monofilament on a graphite rod over, say, a fiberglass rod. If I was going to switch the line out on these two, and if I was using a cheaper fiberglass rod, I would go back to using either the fluorocarbon or the braided line. I've not yet to use braided line on either of these. I've used mono just predominantly for this one, but I have used fluorocarbon on this one, 6-pound test. Last year it worked just fine. I switched over to mono because that other spool of line on this got trashed from, you know, overfishing with it. Now, if I had to take my pick from both of these reels, which one's the best one, would probably be the Sienna series reels. They're a lot smoother. They have more gear ratio. They have a better drag system. But I'm not taking anything away from the FX series of reels. I think it's a good, cheap budget option that you can pretty much buy from any big box store. It's a little bit more grittier than the Sienna, and both of these are made in Malaysia. So they're made in Malaysia, but I think the Sienna is a little bit better of a reel, but they're both similar on specs. But both drags on these reels are great, but I think the Sienna's drag is a little bit better quality than the FX series reels. But I'm not taking anything away from the FX series reels. I do recommend both of these reels if you're on a budget and you're not wanting to spend, I don't know, 60, 70, 80, up to $100 on a reel. If you're seeing these two reels at Walmart or Dick's Sporting Goods or Bass Pro Shop with either a combo or just the reels separate, I highly recommend both of these reels. I put them through some hard fishing this year and they came out shining. They both work really well, and you know, both of them, like I said, I have two hates I really don't like about the reel, is the rod seat and the small anti-reverse switch. The handle cranks are done really well on the Sienna and the FX series of reels. That one gets high points for me. I highly recommend these reels. If you guys see them, pick them up. If you're in the market for a budget reel and you're undecided, either going with something that you've heard somebody else saying that's better than this or that, Shimano is a reputable reel company. I've used them for years, caught lots of big fish on them. Highly reliable reels. Abuse them, use them. Good utilitarian reels, and I can't recommend them enough. You guys check these out. These two reels are great reels. They're not the best reels in the world. I'm not going to say they're the best reels in the world, but they're good for what you pay for, and you get what you pay for with these two reels right here. Pick them up if you see them. I recommend them. If, you know, honorable mentions, I could recommend you, you know, anything quantum, Anything Shimano, anything Zebco. Some of the Zebco series spinning reels are pretty good this season. I've seen a few people use a few Zebco spinning reels. The ABU-Garcia spinning reels are great. Pen spinning reels are great. Probably the best. Pen is the best. I've not yet to try a Cast King reel yet, but I'm going to get around to getting one of those down the road and do some testing on that for at least a year before I do a review on it. But I've been using these for about a year now, and they're highly functional. They work great. They got a good price point on them, you know, 30 bucks to 20 bucks. You know, you're not going to go wrong. Like I said, I would recommend the Sienna over the FX series any day because it's a better quality of reel, but both of them work for what their intended purpose is, getting a budget reel without breaking the bank. And I do recommend them. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit the like, share, and subscribe on this video and tell me what you think. Check them out if you want, or just pick up something a little bit better quality than, you know, Lose. I do not like Lose. I will never recommend a Lose unless I actually test one and use it. I've already used one that I reviewed that I liked. But if you like this video, you know, give it some love. See you guys later. This has been Andrew Hondo from Hillbilly Tactical. Peace out, YouTube.